Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this channel and this video. Let's get to it. Here is a African American history resource that we use within our homeschool. I got this from Royal Fireworks Press. This is the actual curriculum itself, the reader and the workbook, and this is the teacher's manual and answer key. Let's dive in. Here are all your subjects or your topics in your table of contents, okay? And you can go online to Royal Fireworks Press and purchase this online, okay? So this book, it really starts off with slavery. It gives you a little bit of information in terms of the African background, you know, West Africa, the Mali, Songhai, Ghana empires, and, you know, a little bit about African culture. But the meat of this is really post-colonization or colonization and after that. Okay. Let me just turn to a page and show you what it looks like. So here is a lesson. Slavery defended and opposed the South, 1800 to 1860. They will always give you a set of vocabulary words. The child will define those words. I also have the child write the part of speech. I also have my son look at where he found the word in the reading selection, and he would highlight that word. That way it gives him some context of how the word is being used in the sentence. Here are some sentences here. And this is where they use these vocabulary words in the sentences. So the sentences that he finds in the story that tells him how the words are used, they also were nice enough to put them right here for you. But I still have him highlight the word in the sentence. And then they give you some important ideas, which basically says, as you read the selection, I want you to pay attention to these main ideas or to these key takeaways within the story. And then it gives you the selection. As always, when I have my son do anything that in regards to reading comprehension, I have him number all the paragraphs. And then I would have him underline important facts or important takeaways. And if there's something that he doesn't understand, he's like, oh, I want to know more about it. For example, in this case, Nat Turner. Once he starts to read, he's like, oh, that's so cool. I want to learn more about that. We'll put a little sticky on this page and we'll put the word Nat Turner on it. And then that way, what he would do is he would go to YouTube and he would do a search and he would find more information on Nat Turner. We would go to the library and find more information on it. And that just gives him something to read. I'm not assigning him something, but that is just him wanting to dive a little deeper in some self-directed, interest-led learning. And then they do a case study. Sometimes they give you pictures. Anytime we have pictures, I have my child do a picture study. What do you see in the picture? How does it make you feel? What's going on? How do you think the person in the picture felt? Okay, depending on the picture, we'll dive into that. And then we have some multiple choice. And then some true and false, and then some essay. My child does not write in the books. I simply photocopy it, and he would do all his work on that photocopied paper. And if he needs an additional sheet of paper, he would go ahead and do that. So when he turns the assignment in to me, he would have to turn in this complete document here, which is the story itself and the questions. Okay, so again, he would turn in this whole thing because I'm expecting to see the definition here. I'm expecting to see any additional information he has on here. He would have to check this off to tell me he did read it, basically. I would also want to see the parts of speech when he writes the definition over here. I want to see all the paragraphs numbered. That's why I'm having him turn in the reading part, okay? I want to see the main idea that he has written on the margins or the side. So as an example, if he reads this, I want him to write the key takeaways, the main idea from what he just read. So I expect to see that. I expect to see the spelling words highlighted or boxed or underlined throughout the reading. I expect to see other information or strategies that we use in reading comprehension. Okay? And then I expect to see all the answers. And what we also do in reading comprehension is when he has a question, let's say number 4, the majority of white Southerners, and then A through D, based on his reading, he would tell me which ones does he think is the answer, which ones are potential answers. He would put a question mark next to that. Which ones do you know for a fact are absolutely wrong? He would cross that out. That way he's looking at, 1 or 2 out of all 4. And then he would go to the paragraph and he would tell me, where did you find the answer for number 4? Let's say he found it in paragraph 10, and let's say this was paragraph 10 here. He would write number 10 here. He would write number 4, which means that's the answer for number 4. That's where he found it. And then for question 4, he would write paragraph 10 because that's where he found it. That way when we go back and check the answer, we don't have to flip through. I kind of know where he's got his thought process from. As you guys know, I really don't like multiple choice questions. Okay. So sometimes if I'm not giving him this assignment as an independent assignment and we do it together, I like to, do 50% together, 50% independent, depending on what we're learning and doing and what's going on in our home education that week or month. We would read the story together. He would still annotate the paragraph with all the information I'm looking for. And then I would ask him the questions and he would have to answer it orally. So in this case, let's say we were doing number... Sorry about that. So in this case, if we were doing number 1, I would ask him the question. This selection as a whole tells us that. So basically the entire reading, everything we just read about, tells us what? And then I would have him answer. And then based on his answer, I would say, now look at the multiple choice question. Which one is correct based on what you just said? Or I would tell him, yay or nay, that answer is correct. And this is why. And let's verify that by going to the paragraph that you think you found that in. Do you remember where you found that in? And of course, he would go through, he would look at it, he would say, I think it was like in this paragraph here. And then he would tell me where he think he found that information. So again, I like to do it orally if we're, working one-on-one. And I like to do it in writing if he was doing it independently. Okay, I love this resource here. This is the teacher's manual. And the teacher's manual gives you all the answers to the questions, and it gives you exams. So if you want to incorporate exams within your home, after every 5 lessons, it gives you an exam that you can give the child for every 5 lessons. Okay? So it gives you multiple choice, it gives you vocabulary, it gives you true and false, and it gives you essay. So what you could do is you can read the information here, the stories here, okay, in this book. Read the stories. You can have your child do the questions. You and the child can do the questions orally. And then for every 5 lessons that you do that way, then you can go into this book and you can do the exams again, because the exams take every 5 lessons and gives you one consolidated, comprehensive place to go. And it also gives you additional reading. So if you want your child to read more, remember we talked about this one in the beginning. After we're done, if I wanted my child to read more about it, let's say my child wanted to know more about Nat Turner, or he wanted to know more about slave revolts or the Underground Railroad, and things of that nature. Because this was discussed in this lesson, it even tells you the books that you can go ahead and check out the library or pay for, buy, in order to dive deeper into those topics. Wonderful resource. All right, guys, I hope you found this of benefit. If you think this video would be of benefit to someone else or would add value to their home education, please like and share the video. And comment below, what do you use for African American history and African studies within your home education? I have a lot more videos that has already been put out and will be put out in the future that will go into more detail in terms of what other resources and or curriculum do we use for this specific area. And you don't have to be homeschooling to do this. If your child is enrolled in school full time, hey, you can do this as an enrichment, because they're not going to learn African American history, pre-colonization, post-colonization in the detail that you may prefer them to learn, as an African American living in, the world. So go ahead and incorporate this as enrichment, within your home, after school, on the weekends, on holidays, and things of that nature when school is out. All right, guys, as always, be blessed.